We're going to talk about a new product coming out from Meta and their not Ray-Ban Meta glasses, but Oakley Meta glasses. They announced it today, this morning. It's going to be launched on June 20th. I assume they'll probably have a pre-order date for that time as well, which makes sense because currently Ray-Ban Meta has a sale going on for their glasses and you can get them for pretty cheap, like low 200s. And it's like 20% off. And this makes sense. And to go along with this, you might be like, oh, Meta's leaving Ray-Ban. No, they're not. Why do we know this? Because the same company that owns Ray-Ban also owns Oakley, and their name is, hopefully I'll get this right, EssilorLuxottica. They're a company that owns multiple brands and stores. They own a lot of eyeglass stores like Sunglass Hut and a few others that I can't think of. They own like 12 different brands, really a ton of brands that you actually know. Also, they are focused on, this version anyways, is gonna be a sports focused sunglass, hence them using Oakley because they're kind of like a sporty type brand. And they're gonna use the Oakley Sphera glasses most likely, with the camera being directly in the middle, kind of like what you can see with this AI mock-up that I made for these ones. You know, are they gonna have a display in them? Are they going to be different in any way? My guess is these are probably not gonna be all that different than what we get with the Ray-Ban Metas, because the technology to add the display is already there. Obviously, we've seen it with Google. I just think that when Meta announces theirs with the display in it, that's not going to come until September, and then they'll release that either later this year or maybe even early next year with whatever brand or brands they end up working with. This is great because having the Luxottica brand behind them with all these different eyeglass brands and stores and things like that, and these are all, you know, pretty high level, really cool looking sunglass brands, and it's really cool because Google's are using these brands that are kind of not bad, but brands that aren't as known for luxury or like, oh, I have to have that brand. Oakley and Ray-Ban are definitely those kind of culture bleeding brands that people want to use and wear. And Oakley Meta glasses, if they're different at all, I would think a couple of things. Since the camera is in the middle, it wouldn't surprise me at all if we're able to get not vertical video, but also horizontal video. I've done a review recently and the camera was smack dab in the middle and it was able to do widescreen video, horizontal video. So I don't know, maybe we'll end up seeing that with this, and these will be the different ones. So if you want the vertical, you go with Ray-Ban. If you want the horizontal, you go with Oakley. That could be one thing that I potentially see happening with the Oakley brand. Also, I kind of expect that the speakers are gonna be better. Just a guess, probably wrong, but why? Why would I say that? Because they're a sporty brand. They want it to be louder. It wants it to be more aggressive. That's my guess on these, is that why they would use the horizontal camera potentially to have like a GoPro type view, and then also having the louder sound because you're gonna be in louder environments all the time using these glasses. With doing sport activities, I would expect them to be built a little bit stronger and better. Not that the Ray-Bans aren't built strong, but just a little bit more durability in these. Maybe they have more water resistance. There's gonna be things I would expect out of these that will be a little bit better than what you get with the Ray-Ban Metas. They're also potentially, I guess you could say, a generation newer. Beyond that, I would be very happy if we get a display in these of some sort to read notifications and see map directions, and maybe even have more software built into it than we do with the Ray-Ban Metas. But beyond that, that's what I'm expecting with the Oakley Meta glasses. And we're just 4 days away from this being announced. June 20th is the announcement. I don't think they're gonna have some big show. It's probably just gonna be a video release, and then, hey, you can pre-order on our website. The Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 7, we've had rumors that it might use a silicon battery inside of it, which is a newer battery technology based off of lithium-ion batteries like they use right now. But again, just a little bit different the way it's powered. And basically the difference between lithium ion and silicon carbon is that silicon carbon can have a skinnier, smaller battery size with more milliamps. So for instance, you might have a battery that's smaller and thinner than a traditional, say, 4400 milliamp battery. But if you have that same size battery with a silicon carbon, it's going to end up being, who knows, 5,600 milliamps or larger, and you just get more battery for a smaller size versus you do with just a traditional lithium ion battery. So there was rumors that the Galaxy Z Fold 7 was going to have this technology, or potentially have this technology in their batteries, even though they were using the same kind of battery at 4,400 milliamps. Well, it looks like it might not happen. Panda Flash yesterday tweeted that Samsung is currently testing lots of battery technologies because Samsung aims to find a good battery that has longer battery life and is safe to use. Samsung won't use new battery technology in smartphones until they're fully satisfied. Samsung doesn't want to use any type of new battery technology without long time testing, due to Samsung not wanting to take any type of risk, because battery is one of Samsung's sensitive components in a smartphone. And you know, not having silicon carbon batteries inside of the Galaxy Z Fold 7 probably makes a lot of sense based off if the batteries stay in at 4,400 milliamps, but they're using a new type of battery technology. That doesn't make any sense to me. It makes sense to me to have a thinner phone, lighter phone, but have a bigger milliamp battery, but again, skinnier and all that because of using the silicon carbon. So it makes sense it's probably not going to have that technology behind it if they're truly not going to have it. And it sounds like it's probably one of the bigger upgrades for the 8, I would guess, that they would do that, but who knows, maybe they won't. They haven't upgraded the battery since its inception, even though the phone has gotten larger displays at this point. Also add on to the fact that, they've had some issues with batteries in the past. Remember the Galaxy Note 7, where that didn't use this battery technology, used traditional lithium ion batteries, but it had issues where the batteries were starting to expand and phones would catch fire, and they had some issues within that. And that makes sense that they're still worried to this day to have such a PR disaster like they did. Now it's a long time ago now. Shoot, almost 10 years ago, I think it was. And it just makes sense. You're a company that makes tons of devices, and if you are the company that has issues with your batteries, people will probably stop buying that phone just because of that reason. I don't think that's what would happen if they start using this technology. There are already premium phones that use this. I know OnePlus uses it in their phones, among other phone companies as well. It's a lot of the Chinese manufactured companies are using this battery technology. Because you'll get, like I said, you get a smaller, skinnier battery, but a lot more milliamps. It's a pretty cool technology behind it. It's based off of lithium ion. It's just the way the technology works inside the battery is a little bit different, but it's still lithium ion technology at the end of the day. So kind of interesting that we probably won't see it. I mean, obviously these are rumors and things could change, but as of right now, don't count on having a silicon battery inside of your Galaxy Z Fold 7. Let me know your thoughts on this. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, and we'll see you down the road. Peace. What is going on? Welcome to Greggles TV Daily. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Project Muhan, also known as the Apple Vision Pro competitor, looks like we're getting not an official release date, but a rumored release date for this. And here's what we got to learn. And according to reports, Samsung's XR headset has internal code names like Project Muhan, Project Infinite. The latest report claims that the company will officially announce it on September 29th, 2025. The announcement would take place at a domestic Unpacked event in South Korea. For those eager to get their hands on it, the device is then expected to go on sale in South Korea shortly after, on October 13th. Fortunately, fans and tech enthusiasts outside of Korea won't have to wait too long. Its availability is slated to expand to global markets, including the USA, shortly after its initial domestic release. So there's still a possibility they might show this off at Samsung Unpacked, which should happen in July for the Galaxy Z Fold 7 line. Beyond that though, you're looking at, it is still a few months away at that point, because we're in, what is it, June 16th, you got July, August, September, like basically 4 months before it actually see this in people's hands and reviewed, and then who knows when it's going to come out in America. Is it going to come out in October, November? I would guess if it's going to come out this year in America and the rest of the world, it would come out before the big shopping season, which is Black Friday, Thanksgiving, around here in the United States. So if I would expect it's probably going to end up coming out, again, this is just a guess, probably late October in the US and the rest of the world. There's already been rumors that it was going to be coming out in South Korea first and then the rest of the world after. So I would guess end of October for this to be coming out to the rest of the world. Still a device I'm really much looking forward to. The Apple Vision Pro is cool, really cool, and this is supposed to be right up there with it, and it's probably going to be price-wise right up there with it. Probably, again, a guess, $2,000 or more, maybe even $3,000. Now, the Galaxy Z Fold 7 and Flip 7 look like they're probably going to get a special promotion along with them. And some other phones have gotten this in the past too, such as the S25 and some Pixel Fold phones. I know I got it with my Pixel phone. I ended up getting the Google AI Pro offer, and it looks like the Z Fold 7 and Flip 7, based off of an APK, which is an app teardown, show that the latest Google app is going to offer for the Pixel Galaxy Z Fold 7 and Flip 7 a free amount of time with Gemini Pro. They don't say how long. It'll probably at least be 6 months. Last year I got a whole year with the Pixel phone for free, and I'm still using it. I love that. But yeah, it's probably gonna be 6 months, which is still great. I love the Pro version of this. Creating videos is really cool, and unlimited, basically everything from photo generation. No, video's not free, unlimited, but you can do like 3 or 4 video creations. It's pretty cool, all the things you can do with it. I use AI on a daily basis, from helping with my videos to thumbnails and all the other cool things you can do with it. So massive news dropped about the Galaxy Z Fold 7. 2 really surprising bits. One's really surprising, completely shocked. You can see the Galaxy Z Fold 7 right now. The colors that we're showing today are Blue Shadow and Jet Black. And one of the huge things about this is obviously the displays. The displays on this are due to be 6.5 inches on that outside cover display with the camera on top. And then on the inside display, you're looking at this, again, we've heard 8 inches, we've heard 8.2 inches. They're saying 8.2 inches on the latest Android headlines leak, and they're getting this information from someone that gave them the renders that they've created with this. 8.2 is what we heard that. And again, we've heard 8 as well. They're saying 8.2. That's one of the big things about this that's coming out about the Galaxy Z Fold 7, based off rumors that we've been hearing for a really, really long time. We've heard for a while, again, 6.5 and 8. We've heard 200 megapixel camera. We've heard that the phone is really slim and lighter. And all of that really holds up to be true. But again, 8.2 on that inside display is crazy. If this holds up to be a true rumor based off the information that they're getting, that is awesome. I'm totally for that. I think that's an awesome, awesome thing. And then also, the blue color looks awesome. I love that blue color. Right now, my eye is on you, blue. Eye is on you. That blue shadow looks awesome. Jet black obviously always looks good. But if I had to choose between these two, I would personally go blue shadow. I think it's dope looking. Snapdragon 8 Elite, 12 gigs of RAM, up to 1 terabyte of storage, and 256 and 512. 200 megapixel main camera. None of that stuff seems to be changing. Obviously, the new visual engine that we talked about a while ago with logarithmic video capabilities for better video and better stabilization. 4400 milliamp battery, same as the Z Fold 6. Supports 15 watt wireless and 25 watt wired. It might not have that 25 watt wireless based off what we were hearing. Also with that, Android 16 and One UI 8 out of the box. And you could have seen from these photos, obviously, as I've been talking, is that it looks like the camera is on top of the main display. It's not underneath that display. That is massive and crazy to me that they have reverted back to putting the camera on top of the display. I'm not offended by it. The camera's obviously going to take better photos and videos on that main display for sure, like way better. And there's a couple of things that arise from that make me think. When I look at it, I'll be honest, it doesn't look as good as it underneath the display. It just doesn't. This looks amazing. It doesn't. It doesn't look that great. I'm not gonna lie, but it's way more functional and usable on there to take videos and photos with that camera. It's weird because the information on their website says 4 megapixel under display camera on the inner display. But at the same time, there's other people out there that have really great track records that are saying it's on top of the display. And the images show it as well, like these renders show it, which is, why would they show it in the render? So I've got to think that most likely that camera is on top of the main display. Again, seems crazy to me, but if these rumors hold out to be true, then that's wild to me. And it's not a bad thing. And the other thing I want to add on to that is, if the camera is truly on the main display again, Apple has been rumored to use that same type of camera on top of the display as well, which adds credence and truth probably to what they're doing, because that's what we've heard they were going to do. They don't like the under display technology. They don't think it's there, so they're not going to use it. So it makes sense that Apple's like, hey, or Samsung's like, hey, Apple's going to be doing it too. Let's just go back to it. We don't want to say they have a better under display, a better camera on the main display than we do. Let's compete with that. Let's also probably be able to sell this same exact display to Apple so that they have it and that they can we can make our display and not have to spend too much money making a totally different display for them. This kind of all makes sense if this ends up coming to be true with Apple as well. Like we've been hearing that they're going to come out with a foldable display possibly as early as 2026. So a lot to digest in there with the 8.2 inch display, because we've been hearing 8 for a while now. And then also the on top of camera on the main display. It's just a lot of craziness with this if this all comes out to be true. We are going to speak about the leak that happened. There was a dummy unit of Galaxy Z Fold 7 that was released on YouTube. I'll link the YouTube video down below. It's really good, but it's all in Korean, so you can't switch it over to English or anything like that. So I'm gonna go through some of the screenshots that I captured from that video, but I do recommend checking that video out. This first one though is really cool because it shows how thin the Galaxy Z Fold 7 is going to be, and extremely thin. USB-C port at the bottom there, speaker, microphone I should say, speaker as well. Again, just showing off how thin it is, but it's kind of what we've seen before. This next one shows off what I like to see about this is not only is it closed, and you can see still really, really thin even when it's closed, but you can see the camera bumps on there, which they do stick out a bit, and that is to be expected, especially with such a thin phone. And it's something I'm completely okay with because I want the best camera that they can offer me, and they're doing that with that 200 megapixel camera. It's the best camera that Samsung currently has, and giving us to that is definitely a plus. It might not be as thin as we want it to be, but at the same time, it's definitely thin in that you're getting a thin phone with great cameras. So again, I'm totally fine with that. This other one shows the Z Fold 6 on the left, Z Fold 7 on the right, and they're in their closed state. You see the hinge and you see how thin they are. Super amazing on seeing how much thinner the Z Fold 7 is, even in a closed state. Again, cameras are sticking out like crazy, but they stick out a bit on, just a tiny bit on here, but definitely not as much as the Z Fold 7. Again, it's because of how thin it is. It's a byproduct of that when you create a phone that thin. Here's another closer look, this time when they're closed, and you can really see it almost looks not half, but maybe 60-70% of the thickness of the Galaxy Z Fold 6, which is totally impressive. When you add the cameras in there, okay, things become a lot closer. So I don't know what you're gonna do, unless you want crappy cameras on there, which I don't. I'd rather have skinny phone and better cameras. Z Fold 7, just measuring out right here, nothing terribly interesting. Z Fold 6 and Z Fold 7 again next to each other. I like to see this because the different angles, that's where you can see like, oh man, that Z Fold 7, even though it's a dummy unit, still is mighty impressive in terms of its look of build quality and premiumness. And not that the Z Fold 6 wasn't premium, it's totally the most premium Z Fold that we've had to date. But at the same time, it's crazy what they're doing with the Z Fold 7. Really crazy. Another one showing how thin it is. Z Fold 6, Z Fold 7 just stacked up next to each other. You can see Z Fold 7 is looking like almost, at this picture, almost looks like half. But again, it's about 60% of the thickness of a Z Fold 6, which is, it blows my mind to think that I know they've probably had this build of a phone for years, but just year over year, it's so impressive what they've done with that thickness. Z Fold 7 shown the bottom here with the speaker and the charging port. And then a side view of the Z Fold 6 and Z Fold 7. Then we get finally the front display. Z Fold Special Edition, which is 6.5 inches, and Z Fold 7. And both of these are 6.5, but it looks like, unless this is from the angle he's holding, the Special Edition is definitely taller. And the Z Fold 7, I wouldn't say it's wider, but it looks, I don't know, I don't think it looks wider, which is crazy. I don't know how these phones are both 6.5. That boggles my mind right there, but just know that's the difference between if you have one of those special edition phones. Here's the special edition thickness versus the Z Fold 7. And from here, you kind of like, ooh, it looks pretty close. But it's 9 millimeters on, if I'm not mistaken, on the Z Fold 7 and 10.6 on the special edition. So it is thinner still on the Z Fold 7. Here's the front display, 6 versus 7. And you can definitely see it's a little bit taller than the Z Fold 6 and definitely thicker. I'm so looking forward to really having this in hand and feeling the differences between these two phones. It's gonna be so cool to see that. Here's another one. I believe that's a simulated image of the Z Fold 7, because he doesn't have a real phone, of the Z Fold 7 versus the Z Fold 6, and it gives you a better look at what to expect with that display. And that's when you can really tell that the Z Fold 6 looks a lot skinnier. And I know a lot of you guys are thinking like, hey, Z Fold 6, it's thinner. I want that more because I want a thinner phone rather than have the thicker, bigger outside display of the Z Fold 7. But I think most people want it to be larger on the outside. That's what she said. And also might not want it now, but when they get it, they're gonna be like, you know what? Totally right. I definitely like this outside display. Because if you think, use the outside display more, it'll be better at consuming battery life. Because if you're always in the inside display like I am, it's obviously gonna use more battery life. Here's another look of the Special Edition versus the Z Fold 7 to the displays. They look pretty close, but the Z Fold Special Edition, to me anyway, looks wider. Now, here's the weights. And you go from the Fold 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the 6, and then the 7, and then between that's the Special Edition. Fold 7 is gonna be 215 grams in weight, which is insane. That's so insane to me. Super light, so the thinnest, the largest, and the thinnest. They did a remarkable job with their engineering on this. When you think about the years gone by, going from 276 grams down to 215, and every single year except the second year, they got thinner, or lighter, I should say. So it's pretty impressive. Z Fold 6 and Z Fold 7, again, when they're completely flat, you can see an indication of how thin the Z Fold 7 will be. Again, about half the size, maybe get 60% of the Z Fold 6. Now, Z Fold 7 in this picture looks a little bit bent, but remember, it's a dummy, so I'd be surprised if it's gonna be bent. Probably should be flat. Here is the Z Fold 6 and Z Fold 7 main displays, and this is like, look at that Z Fold 7 on the right. You are totally getting full displays on there on each side with your multitasking. I'm looking forward to not that the Z Fold 6 was bad with multitasking or it felt small, but this should definitely feel a lot larger. It looks a lot larger on that main display. That is one thing I think about. It's like, are people going to be turned off by that? And if you are, you're crazy. Don't be. It's going to be so much fun and awesome. And then here's a closer look at the bezel. You can see on the right, the Z Fold 7 bezel is about half the thickness of a Z Fold 6 bezel, and just overall a great build of a phone and an engineering marvel from Samsung, really, in a lot of ways. A couple of things is he does mention that the main display is 8 inches. We heard 8 inches for a while, and multiple people have said 8 inches. Only a few people have said 8.2, so I don't know. It's probably going to be 8. And then he doesn't, again, it's in Korean. Maybe he does mention it, but we'll see if this is going to be an on-display camera. Like we've heard, it's going to be. I kind of think it will be based off where the camera placement is placed on the main display, where it's in the top right, the very, very top right, instead of like the middle of the other display. So that would make sense. But if it is on the top right, it's going to be weird taking selfies. You're going to have to like angle it. So maybe that where the camera is placed on the dummy unit isn't the correct, but those are two things that would be of interest to me to really figure out and find out. But yeah, that's the Galaxy Z Fold 7. We're weeks away, guys. Weeks. It's going to be awesome. Can't wait. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments down below. Are you excited still? Not? More so than ever? Let me know. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, and we'll see you down the road. Peace. Galaxy Z Fold 6, if you're on that and you're thinking about hopping over the Galaxy Z Fold 7, here are 7 improvements from that phone to this phone. The first one being the processor. As we know, going from a Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 to an 8 Elite is a fairly big jump. 8 Gen 3 is a great processor for AI tasks, for gaming, for day-to-day tasks, and then 8 Elite is just that with like 30-40% better performance. It's just better. You know, if you run AI tasks, if you're running gaming, if you're watching or editing videos, if you're doing anything that uses a lot of horsepower, obviously you want the better processor. And to get 30-45%, something in that range of more performance with the 8 Elite, why wouldn't you grab it? And they did that with the Z Fold 7. Now the displays, they're bigger. They're definitely bigger. And if you wouldn't want a bigger display, especially on that front one, it's going from 6.2, or 6.3 actually, to 6.5. So it's a little bit of a jump from 0.2 inches, but it does look a good amount bigger when you see them side by side based off of some photos that we've seen. 7.6 to 8.2, potentially 8.2, could be 8, but it's leaning more towards 8.2 lately sometimes. Regardless, 7.6 to 8 or 7.6 to 8.2, definitely a very welcome upgrade for multitasking, for being able to zoom in on text and have it still fit the page correctly if you have everything small enough. Everything, editing photos, editing videos, looking at a photo, whatever it may be, to be able to zoom in a little bit more and not have it so maybe as cut off as before, to have more real estate on that canvas. I am all for it. So much looking forward to that huge display. We've had the same size display for a while. Cameras, the main camera is getting an upgrade to the 200 megapixel camera, which would match what you get with the Ultra version of the S line. And then also you get to add on to that they've updated their AI algorithm with photos and videos, so that should look better and steadier versus last generation. So not only is the main camera getting an upgrade, just physically upgrade, the software side of things is also getting an upgrade. So that's freaking awesome. I mean, one of the weak points sometimes you could say of the folding phone is you're paying $2,000 or so, and you're getting a phone that not really that close in terms of quality to an Ultra phone. Now we are there, so that's awesome to see. The unfolded thinness, or folded thinness I should say, going from 12.1 down to 8.9. Now the battery's staying the same, but you're getting a much thinner phone. And putting it into your pockets better, holding it so you don't have to strain so much on your hand if you have small hands is better. It looks better in terms of that. It's a more attractive selling point when you're in front of your friends and family. Hey, look how skinny my phone is. They're gonna be like, dude, that's crazy. And it has a huge display. I want one. It's good marketing. 5.6 millimeters unfolded versus 3.9 or 4.5. So 3.9 is thinnest on the Fold 7, and then when you add that camera bump, you're looking at 4.5 millimeters. So super thin phone, ridiculously thin. So thin that you're gonna be able to be, again, the envy of the party. 68.1 millimeters wide when it's folded versus 73.4. So that's getting bigger. So that means more screen real estate. And again, that goes back into the screen real estate. That's awesome. And then the weight going from 239 grams down to 215 grams. Again, thinner, lighter, more powerful, better cameras and video, more screen real estate. Well, come on, it's freaking crazy. What a great upgrade. You can always have a counterpoint. You're gonna say, hey, the battery's the same. Hey, the charging speeds are the same. You can say all that, and I'm not saying you can't, and those are way valid points, but there are also reasons why potentially we could see an 8 that improves on those things, like the 7 has improved on the 6 in these 7 ways. Maybe we'll get 8 ways on the 8. But let me know your thoughts on this in the comments down below. Have a great day. We'll see you down the road. Peace.